Hello, it's Jimmy. Today I want to talk about how there really isn't such a thing as a stable job anymore. The era of the stable job is gone. I think we've kind of moved away from that. There are some examples where people have stayed in their career at the same employer for their entire working lives, and that's great, but I think it's much more rare than it used to be. I've been working since I was 14 years old, and most of that time I've had at least two jobs, one main or full-time job and a part-time job. And several times I worked 3 or more jobs at once, and it wasn't uncommon for me to work 80 hours in a week. And it never really bothered me because I always seemed to like what I was doing and find little gigs and different fun things to do. And when you're young and don't have really a heck of a lot of responsibilities and hardly any bills to pay, it helped put a little money in the bank and gave me a lot of really good experience, both work skills and just life skills in general. The last job I worked, it was fine. It was relatively pleasant, but it was a corporate environment. It was the only job that I was working, and sometimes it felt a little strange to work a strictly 40-hour week. I think I had too much time on my hands outside of work, but I did fill that with some volunteer opportunities and hobbies, which was a good thing. I kind of started to get in that mindset of, hey, this is a pretty stable place to work. I imagine I could stay here until I hit my natural retirement age and then sail off. But things took a turn a couple of years ago. During the time of the spicy cough, some true colors got revealed, and I learned some things about other people that made it not a very pleasant place to work, and just felt like it was time for me to move on. My wife, she worked at the same place for about 20 years. The management there was pretty decent. I'd say when she started, it was a small business run by 2 Christian men, and she found the place very pleasant and got to interact with the clients. It was a very predictable type of industry. I don't think it was boring, but it was very predictable and very stable. Well, later on, towards the end, management made a rather fateful decision, and many changes happened all at once, and not really any of them were in a positive direction for my wife, we'll say. Her work changed, her workflow, what she would be doing changed, and even the location. You imagine, sitting in the same chair for 20 years, you get really used to what's around you. And they were like, no, we're gonna move out of here, move farther away, and you're going to have to drive through the worst traffic in this city to get to a job that you wouldn't even want to apply to. So that was enough. She made her decision, and she moved away from that. It just so happened we both kind of left our jobs about the same time. We had a nice overlap where neither one of us were working, so we could spend some time together. And because we have no debt and plenty of money saved up, we were able to have a little fun and do some light traveling. Oh, not this, crap you see on people's Instagrams and TikToks and garbage where they're jetting off to exotic locations, unless you consider St. Louis an exotic location. And we drove everywhere, and it was fun. Had a good time. Well, I think she got sick of hanging out with me because she found another job, and that's fine. Well, going through those job transitions from what could be considered very stable jobs was a good exercise for us to understand that there really isn't such a thing as a stable job anymore. The best bit of career advice that I got when I was in college was from somebody that said, you are in charge of your career, not your employer. And I think what he meant by that is you need to develop the skills that you want that are applicable in the marketplace. That's up to you, not your employer. Now, if they need you to learn something new so you can take on more responsibility and hopefully they compensate you in a reasonable way for that, yeah, then go ahead. I think that stability that people want and need in their life needs to come from outside of their employer. You can build the skills and cultivate your natural talents for things that can be appreciated, not necessarily by one singular employer, but by the marketplace in general. It used to be that if you were considered a job hopper, somebody who didn't work somewhere for very long, that looked bad on your resume. I don't know that that's the case anymore, so long as people are developing their skills and then applying them. So the stability is really built on what you can do and what you can offer. One example I thought of where somebody thought they had a very stable job. I took a typing class when I was a freshman in high school. I already knew how to type because I did all of my papers on this Olivetti behind me. It wasn't until I was about a junior in high school that I acquired a rather used Tandy 1000 that had a word processor on it. I'm that old. I believe we were using IBM Selectrics in that typing class. No matter. The teacher had been teaching for 30 years and teaching typing, and ironically, she never really learned any new skills or acquired new knowledge, but yet she was teaching young people new skills and new knowledge. The school had decided that, typing is kind of going the way of the dodo bird. Maybe we'll get on this computer bandwagon and teach the young people how to use these things. So we got a bunch of PCs donated to the school and a Wang. Who the hell was still using a Wang in 1995? Apparently nobody, because that's why we got it donated to our school. Well, this gal didn't know anything about computers. I mean, yeah, they got a keyboard on them and letters are pretty much laid out the same way, but she was not qualified to teach even an introductory computer class. So after 30 years, she was out in the street because she refused to adapt, and she felt like, hey, I got a stable job, I'm comfortable here, but didn't really change with the times. For me, saving and investing and not having any debt allowed me to have that stability in my life that I didn't need to rely on an employer for. And when things started changing a little too rapidly for our comfort level, I was able to get out. Well, that's all I've got to say on the idea of not having a stable job anymore. I don't think anybody's at that place. Make your own stability. It worked out for us just fine. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you're having a great day. Well, that's all I got to